There you go, folks. One for the flat earthers. We all live in a dome. It's ruled by a woman and a large squirrel. Why not? Right? I'm here in Neiges right now. Another walk with Jeff C here. We're going to take a look at something pretty amazing. I want to show you an amazing thing of positivity that I'm seeing spring up all over Montreal, which are these exercise fitness centers outdoor. You can see all the different bars here, and they provide detailed instructions of how to use the bars. You got a guy here going ahead doing some chin-ups. This is just amazing stuff. I hope to see this in every park in Montreal, or every significant park. Encourages people to get out and exercise as much as possible. And it's so much nicer to be outside and doing your workout than being in some stale sort of recycled atmosphere gym sort of thing. So good job on Montreal for doing stuff like this. Another cool thing about Montreal is the Bixi stations here. As you can see, this one's got one bike left. So what Bixi is that you can come and with your credit card take out a bicycle, rent it out. Here come some people that are bringing it back. And there are, I don't know if there's hundreds, I think there are hundreds of different stations, maybe even over 1,000 in Montreal. So you can bike to any of them and then drop off the bike that you had just leased. Not sure about the cost, I've never done it myself, but another really smart idea. In fact, many other cities have taken up the initiative and modeled themselves after the Bixi system here in Montreal. So another positive way of getting people to get out and exercise. And you can see how popular it is because almost all the bikes are gone. All right, beautiful old farmhouse here in Montreal, and this is right where I wanted to take you guys today on a walk with Jeff C. As you'll see, we are coming up to the Notre de Neiges Cemetary, one of my favorite places to power walk, get some real good exercise. This is not the main entrance. The main entrance is almost like a castle as you come in. This is the entrance in the Côte des Neiges side. Now, the Notre Dame de Neiges Cemetery is the second largest cemetery in North America. It is absolutely massive. There are over 55 kilometers of trails here, of roads actually, and it's along with another cemetery, which is the Mount Royal Cemetery, which is way back. They're somewhat adjoined, where the World War II and World War I graves are, but together they probably make the largest cemetery in North America. There are over 1 million people interned here, and as I said, 55 kilometers of roads. Right? Just massive. And once you get up in it, you don't hear any traffic, you don't hear anything. You see falcons sailing above. You're up high on the mountain. The air is clear and beautiful. Just about every famous Canadian has been buried in this cemetery. It's quite astonishing. And there's beautiful trees, beautiful architecture. There are mausoleums here that are the size of shopping malls. I shit you not. We're gonna go in and take a look at some of them. They'll be closing pretty soon, so I'll try to take you into a couple of them. Show you here the map here. Give you an idea of the size, right? We're up there in that corner. You can see how massive this thing is. It is absolutely gargantuan, and there are so many really cool looking tombstones and all kinds, hundreds of mausoleums, and you know, just amazing atmosphere, clean air, beautiful trees, the works. This is a great place to come. A lot of people come here to get their exercise. A lot of people come here to jog or just walk, cycle, and why the hell not? It's not right downtown, but it's fairly close, and it's so nice and beautiful, peaceful. I don't have a problem walking through cemeteries. I think if there's any sort of spirits, it's all positive sort of thing. So I like coming here quite a bit, getting really awesome exercise, power walking, and just always discovering something new, right? And you see some of these elaborate tombstones. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. And when I talk about famous people being buried here, I'm talking about prime ministers, premiers, CEOs of massive corporations, famous hockey players like Doug Harvey, Maurice the Rocket Richard, Henri Bourassa, you know, kind of a who's who of really huge Canadian sort of celebrities. So you know, you can make it a, you know, to find your way through, you kind of need to leave a trail of breadcrumbs, but there are interactive maps that you can get off the internet that will help you to locate famous people if you want to go find their grave. Here's one of the smaller mausoleums up here. A lot of the Italians have these massive mausoleums. It's a really big thing with them, and we have a large Italian population here in Montreal, a large Jewish population as well. Also, as you can see here, I'm barely in the cemetery at this point in time, and I think a lot of you will recognize that dome up there. That's where I was the other day, on one of the other peaks of Mount Royal. There are 3 peaks, and this cemetery is on one of them. So, and when we get up higher, you'll get fantastic views. So here I am inside one of the mausoleums here. We've got a statue. They have music playing. Some of these even have elevators. This is one of the smaller ones. Really something. So here we are in one of the bigger mausoleums here, just to give you an idea. Wow, 3 floors. This one I think even has an elevator in it. And yes, it's Italian. There's music playing. Very peaceful. Washrooms, elevators, everything. The Italians really have a lot of pride in keeping their family memories alive and stuff. Gotta respect that. You know, beautiful sculpture here. Look at these huge windows going up. It's quite something. As you see as you go out here, there's a lot of green space left, but they're actually saying that all the cemeteries up here, the 2 major cemeteries, are running out of room. Here's an idea of nice steep climbs that you get up here as we climb one of the 3 summits of Montreal. And the higher up you get, the more deep you get into the cemetery, the more peaceful it becomes, to the point that you just hear the birds, the wind in the trees. So right here is the grave of one of the most famous Montrealers ever, Maurice the Rocket Richard. If you're a hockey fan, I don't have to explain to you who Maurice the Rocket Richard is. Many people would say that Maurice Rocket Richard is the greatest Montreal Canadian ever. I would probably say that too, but he's way before my time, so I never got to see him play. But nonetheless, he is easily one of the most iconic people in Canada, Quebec for sure. And these graves, these tombs, become more and more elaborate and larger as you progress deeper into this cemetery. It's really quite astonishing. Beautiful trees too, birch, ash, weeping willows, all kinds. There's a big problem with the ash trees in Montreal because of the ash borer. So they're going around taking down a lot of trees and you know, treating a lot of them. So it's a really big problem. As you can see right here, that tower that is rising up in the background there, the beige yellowish tower, is the University of Montreal. Real Art Deco style, quite attractive. I'm going to take you up there someday soon. That's on the same peak as this cemetery is, and there's all kinds of trails too. Really nice, beautiful university. See some of the beautiful trees that are up here. This cemetery is about, well, it's close to 200 years, about 180 years old. I think it was 1850, if I'm not mistaken, or thereabouts. And it's filled up pretty quickly in that time. As you can see, it's nice, steep, great for power walking. Might get a bit of rain here. We've had a kind of a fluctuating weather here over the last few days, where we've had rain off and on, and then beautiful breaks of sunshine. So I'll take it though. When you're out here in the wintertime, you learn to appreciate any weather, anything that's nice that you can get out. And I don't mind walking in the rain, that's for sure. You can drive in here, drive right up to any of these grave sites. I've got some family buried here too, so I always try to pay my respects, not every time I come, but at least once a year sort of thing. There are hundreds of smaller mausoleums like this one here, which is dated 1883, Macready. And as you see, it's, look around the back here and how it's built in. The grass has covered it all up. There are hundreds of these in this massive cemetery. You can see someone on a bike there getting some good exercise. Lots of phallic symbols. Who's got the bigger one, eh? You ain't seen nothing yet. I actually used to come here a lot when I was a teen and wander around at night with friends, dropping LSD and stuff. Really tripping out, especially on a full moon. It's a really cool place to lose yourself in. You get a real great atmosphere here, and there's so many massive old tombs and mausoleums to explore. It's also so massive that it's hard to find people in here. They close at 5 o'clock. It's about 4, I think, right now. All the mausoleums close at 4. You can see it's not just Christians, although it is a Christian. We have Jewish grave sites here. We have different faiths that are allowed to bury here. So here we go. As we get ever higher, the mausoleums get even older. You can see really something. Tremendously beautiful place to get around and walk, get exercise and fresh air. And when you're on a city like Montreal, which is very dense, there's not too many green spaces that you can really get out and be in nature, be in peace, and get some really nice exercise. I'm going to take you up on Mount Royal, the main peak, in one of the upcoming walks with Jeff C. You can see here, this one looks brand spanking new here. De Lillo Savino. Look at that door. Quite something. I imagine this was built this year or not too distant. Look at these ones here. Wow. It's a damn cool place, I'll tell you. Could be a groundhog. See them all the time. There's foxes, Yeah, it looks like a groundhog there. Right there on checking me out. Hopefully it's coming through here. Yep, little groundhog. He just disappeared real quickly. And they have to watch out all the time because there's a lot of falcons that you'll see soaring above looking for groundhogs or voles or whatever to eat. So these squirrels have to be pretty nimble. These are all mausoleums here too, older ones as you see. You can see here, building up brand new mausoleums here. These go up pretty quickly. Greco, I think it would be open, but these are really small ones. Nope. But I'm going to take you to one of the best kept secrets in Montreal. It's a really sweet lookout that not too many people know about. Probably, in my opinion, the best place to watch sunset here in Montreal. You're right down this path here. So now we're lots of trails up here in the woods. And the gate is still open. They'll close that gate at 5 o'clock. New graves. These ones just went up here. Just went up. They weren't here last time I came. So, gives you an idea of how much space they're running out of. There's someone's not a Christian. Right? Oh yeah. Now it's overcast. You would normally be able to see for miles and miles right into the Laurentians. We're about maybe 600 feet up, more. And this is a great spot here. You can see there's a little bit of rain coming down now, which is only annoying for my video recorder. It was actually quite refreshing. As you see right there, that is a ski lift, toboggan ski lift. I think it was the world's first ski lift, and it was built here in Montreal 100 years ago. And if you see down there, that's the Caravans. That's the University of Montreal's football team stadium right there. You can see a bit of the field, and see a bit of surroundings of Montreal here. It's interesting how much smog, I guess that's what you would call it down there. Normally it's pretty clear. As you see, we've got all trails in here. I like to use these trails all the time. Get some really good workouts. Beautiful, nice and cool in the trees, even if it's super hot out. And when you live up on or close to a mountain, it's good to take advantage of it. I think it's about 650 feet up here from ground level, so Montreal's not a huge mountain by any stretch, but good enough to get a good workout in. You see here, there's a fence just behind. You can see large tombstones in the back there, and that's the Cemetary de Montreal, another huge cemetery that is up here. As we go down here, see descent. We're up pretty high here. And if you see what I mean about it being so quiet and peaceful here. We're in the middle of a huge, dense city, 4 million people, and we got this beautiful oasis right in the center. And sure is nice to be able to get out and take advantage of all the wonderful things that we have here. I'm taking a little break here. The rain started to come down. And it's the kind of weather we've been getting where you get some nice sunshine and then all of a sudden a thick cloud comes and dumps a bit of rain, and it's all good. certainly for the greenery. That really is one of the most beautiful cemeteries in the world, certainly in North America, and a great place to come to get out, get fresh air, exercise, and see a lot of wildlife. I've seen foxes here. I've seen all kinds of birds, especially falcons. One of the coolest things to see. Them, circling above, looking for prey. So I'm gonna sit here for a little bit, see if this rain slows down. Maybe just talk to you about a few things. A little bit going on. Of course, I've gotten a lot of feedback with regards to me trying to reach out and get a bigger audience, which I think a lot of you now understand how important that is. And the bees here. And we can't live in a fishbowl, or we can't expect to have meaningful impact in a fishbowl. We have to get out and try to reach people. So I'm going to try to do all kinds of creative things to bring people in, but I'm still going to be putting up truth videos all the time, because that's what I'm about. That's really all I'm about. Though I do love a lot of things in our culture. I'm a big fan of art. I'm a huge fan of music. And I love sports, right? So I might cover some sporting events. And there's a strong rumor that the Montreal Impact might land Drogba, which is one of the greatest players in Chelsea history, so that would be quite something. Maybe I'll go to catch one of the Impact games and do a walk with jeffc at the Olympic Stadium, which has also the planetarium, not the planetarium, pardon me, the insectarium and the world's largest botanical gardens, which are quite a sight to see, and there's always exhibits going on there. So that's another great place. I have all these places that I want to show you. I'm going to take you to old Montreal, downtown Montreal, the heart of the city, Nuns Island, the Saint Anne de Bellevue, some really beautiful areas that are definitely worth checking out. And the rain's starting to slow down here, so I might be able to get back to walking about. But I really love this place. I really enjoy coming here and getting as much fresh air and exercise as possible. I find it peaceful. I find cemeteries are very peaceful places. I think there's a lot of good spirits here, and I think they recognize someone like me as being another good spirit amongst them, trying to do good things for folks, trying to help spread truth, peace, good messages. And that's what I'm going to try to do a lot about. Getting yourself in shape, getting, fit, eating properly, and having fun at the same time. I mean, if you exercise regularly and you eat well regularly, then it's not such a big deal when you go through a drive-through once a week or once a month sort of thing, right? You can have fun then. You just got to make wise choices, good habits and stuff like that. Build them up. I'm going to talk about sleeping patterns as well, which is something I think a lot of us have problems with. How important sleep is, how important it is to, have your circadian rhythm functioning, right? And trying to be peaceful, positive, and branching out to all different types of folks out there. Because I think we can really broaden our movement if we incorporate as many ordinary folk as possible. So I'm about to get on the road again here. There we go. Some more really cool looking mausoleums here. Montreal has fantastic architecture. That's another thing I'm going to be showing you all is downtown, and probably try to hook up with Aaron, Police State Radio. He's a good friend of mine, and show you some of the phenomenal architecture that exists in the city, and of course all the occult symbolism, which he knows. Him and Justin, those guys are pros. I'm a total amateur when it comes to occult symbolism. It's not my forte. That's why I have great people like that to work with, get their input. I'm sure Justin and Aaron would be great in a cemetery like this, helping me understand some of this symbolism and stuff. There's some very, very interesting mausoleums. There's so many to check out. Here's a really cool one. I mean, this has got to be, I'm not sure, it looks like it's artificially made, in the sense, not artificial, but in the sense that it's not natural rock, or that it was placed there and carved there. This is Familia Alfonso Rizzuto. Holy moly macaroni. Rizzuto is the Don of Montreal, one of the most powerful mafia guys in the history of the world, Vito Rizzuto. You could check out my channel to see more about the Rizzutos. I've covered a lot of this. Look at this. Look at the holy moly. This is Domenico Borsellini here, which I imagine another mob family. And you can see inside, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but beautiful, elaborate gold sort of motifs, and absolutely gorgeous looking entrance here. It's really something, eh? So the Rizzutos are the most powerful family probably in the history of Montreal. Vito Rizzuto was so powerful. Now, when people think of the mafia here, now you get a further sort of view of it. And when you think of the mafia, you usually think of, you know, dons like, say, like in fictional series like The Godfather, where Tony Soprano has his, you know, he's New Jersey sort of head guy, right? But with the Rizzutos, they were international mafia kind of rock stars, in the sense that they weren't stuck to Montreal. They controlled pretty much the east coast of North America, but they were heavily involved in drug trafficking in Venezuela. They actually had a massive plant that was on the border of Venezuela and Colombia, and they would just ship in the drugs through the back door to from Colombia to Venezuela. And that made them really the kingpins of cocaine, heroin, drug trade in North America. So much so, Vito Rizzuto became so powerful that it was revealed that he was the main person behind the largest bridge that's ever going to be constructed in human history, which was, or is, the bridge between Sicily and mainland Italy, which would, when completed, would be the largest bridge in the world. And they found out that Vito Rizzuto was the one that was behind the entire thing, that he was financing it, and, you know, I mean, he was basically, it's his company that was going to build it. And it gives you an idea of how powerful the Rizzutos really are, or were. But Vito has since died, at least that's what they tell us. I don't know if I believe it 100%, because he had just gotten out of prison. Now, if you're thinking about why he was in prison, it was because, if you've seen the movie Donnie Brasco, in the movie Donnie Brasco, the Al Pacino character takes part in a slaying, right, where they're in the basement and they're waiting for a few of the Bonino captains to come back, and they blow them away with shotguns. Well, that was Vito Rizzuto who did that killing, and eventually they convicted him of it, and he had to go to prison in the United States. But then he got out. While he was in prison, pretty much his entire family was wiped out by rival mafioso here in Montreal. His son was killed just up the street from where I live. He had just stepped out of having breakfast, and they shot him. And his grandfather, or his father, was killed as well. He had taken over. He was in his 80s, and I think he was cooking sausages, and they shot him. They had a sniper out in the back of his home, which was, I think they call Mafioso Row or something in Montreal, and they took him out. So they took out a bunch, and they took out his consigliere as well. He just disappeared. They never saw him again. They can make people disappear real quick. The mob is so powerful in Montreal, and with the Charbonneau Commission here, which is the investigation into all the corruption that exists in the construction monopolies of Montreal, or oligarchs, or whatever you want to call them. There's about 6 or 7 major construction corporations, and they're all pretty much controlled by the mafia completely. And what's been revealed is that almost all the major construction projects in Montreal, a huge amount of the money that goes into them ends up in the back pockets of either mafia, politicians, councillors, city councillors, and stuff like that, which essentially means that there is a massive corruption here in Montreal. It's really the municipal government here, where we had 3 mayors in a row step down, or it was 2 in a row. Gerald Tremblay, and then his replacement, who is Jewish, but of course totally connected to the mob, also stepped down within, I think, 8 months of becoming mayor. I can't quite remember his name at the time, right at this moment. But the story came out about Gerald Tremblay, who was a very successful mayor here. He was mayor for more than a few terms. I don't know how long he was mayor, a good 10, 15 years maybe. And the stories that were coming out were quite crazy. One of the stories was that the coffer in City Hall, downtown Montreal, that they couldn't close it. Tremblay had gone in there to take out some money, and so he had to call 3 guys to come up, and big burly sort of working guys to come up and try to slam the thing shut. Now you're thinking, well, why would they have so much trouble closing, a vault? Well, it's because there was so much money in there. And what the testimony said was that it was, pink, purple, brown, which are the high denominations of the funny money that we have here in Canada. We have our colored money, unlike the Americans. Our money is got all different colors depending on what it is. So you're talking $1,000 bills and stuff, stacks upon stacks, $500 bills, $1,000 bills, $100 bills, I think, are the brown ones. So, there's so much money that's being made from like all this construction, just all this backdoor dealing, under the table dealing. There's so much to the story too, and it's still going on. The investigation, we covered it on Free Radio Revolution when we started, and there was so much that they've revealed, and they really haven't arrested anybody because it's just an investigation into it. They're not really charging people with it, and a lot of these people are like a lot of mafioso are testifying and saying, yeah, we paid off all these politicians, yeah, we did all this, yep, we threatened to kill people. One guy was nicknamed Mr. Sidewalk, and he would bully other construction companies to say that either they get the contract and the amount that they want, or the person will end up buried in their sidewalk. And you don't fuck with these guys, right? So that's part of what Montreal is. And I imagine this kind of corruption exists in every major urban city. I think maybe in Montreal it's just a little bit older and more entrenched, but I imagine Toronto is equally as bad, if not worse. And Toronto right now is is under the biggest boom out of any North American city outside of Mexico. So if you see what's going on in Toronto, there are more buildings going up in Toronto right now. This is a fact. This will blow your mind too. So get this, there are more buildings that are being constructed in Toronto than are being constructed in all the major cities of the United States put together. There's over 600 major building projects happening in Toronto right at this moment. So Toronto is just absolutely booming, and there's so much corruption, as we've seen with the recent mayor. Of course, I believe they put people like Rob Ford in power because they're easy to control. He's also a Freemason as well. So I don't know how much of all these stories that come out about him have truth to them, but it seems like he was willing to do anything necessary to maintain his power, even if that meant offing people. So I think we're getting the tip of the iceberg here in Canada about the corruption that exists within our governments. And it's quite something. It's quite fascinating. And then again, that's kind of how things have always worked, right? You'll never have a perfect system. So you could argue from the point of view of all the, say, the construction corruption that exists here in Montreal, that all that money that is dealt under the table finds its way back into the economy, right? These guys who are city councilors or mayors, or like the mayor of Laval, holy cow, this guy had mansions and he had penthouses, and he was just the mayor. And he even had a mansion or a penthouse suite for his daughter, all under the table, all paid for, because he was doing the deals with the mafia. And I think he might be in jail right now. He got booted out of office. So much corruption that exists. And that's why I recommend people watch the show The Wire, which really gives you a sort of microcosm of what corruption exists within police departments and bureaucratic municipal governments, schooling systems, the media. One of the fascinating things about The Wire is the media in the 5th season is the main focus, and they're hoaxing fucking stories. I shit you not. So I really have a phenomenal sort of appreciation for shows like that really lift the veneer off our cities, essentially, and show them for what they really are. And there's a tremendous amount of beauty in a city like Montreal, as there is a tremendous amount of corruption. So it's kind of that yin-yang sort of thing. The good and the bad balances out. And over time, we just hope to push it a little bit more in the good direction. So, and you can see the peak over there, that part of the mountain there, one of the 3 peaks of Mount Royal, is the Westmount Peak, and that's where I showed you the St. Joseph's Oratory was. And you'll be able to see it here, I think, in a second as I come around here. Hope you're enjoying this series. Something I've always wanted to do. I just didn't have the tools to do it now that I have this little nifty iPod here, which I still don't have a case for, so I'm holding with a little bit of anxiety, but nonetheless, it's doing the job. It takes really good videos. I'm not uploading them HD, by the way, so just in case you're wondering, to get stuff up quickly, I usually put it in a lesser format. I would love to be able to just upload everything HD, but look at that phallic symbol there. That's a pretty big one, eh? Here's the Chinese grave here, section. And I imagine most of these people aren't Christians. So it's kind of neat to see all these different faiths sharing the same cemetery, essentially. And up there you go, just behind that tree. I'll try to zoom in. St. Joseph's Oratory. What I didn't say about St. Joseph's Oratory the other day, and I wanted to say, was that you could see it from miles and miles away. We used to call it the Fat Church when we were kids. And you'd be able to see it as you were approaching Montreal, especially from the west. If you're coming back from Toronto or Ottawa, and you could see it, you know, a good 80 kilometers or so away. You got a really good shot of St. Joseph's Oratory here with another newer mausoleum right in front. Getting close to closing time here, so I'm making my way towards the exit here. And very beautiful, quiet. Not a lot of people here today. Could be the weather. Although it's such a massive complex, and you see a lot more of the mausoleums from the back here. It's such a massive cemetery that even if there are hundreds, if not thousands of people here on a weekend, you don't really see them. I mean, you see here and there. It's just so big and spread out. It's so easy to get out, and I'm gonna go down this way. But here we are. Some more of these mausoleums. They're everywhere. I'm gonna try and get down here and show you some of the really cool things about this cemetery. Oh, getting a bit of a soaker. I think I can get through here. Oh yeah. If you check this out here, another one of these mausoleums, massive ones. It's underground, but you can see these skylights here that go up as you go up the mountain here. Come around here, you see there's some really old ones here. Super cool. I tell you, it's quite something to come up here late at night, especially if there's a fog. Get a really awesome atmosphere for someone like me who's like a horror movie guy. There you go, this one goes right underground, has all these skylights in it. Main entrance is down that way. I think it's over there. It's quite impressive as you go through, but I'm not going through that way because that's not the way I came in. You see all the weeping willows, elm trees, jack spruce. I love to see all this nature. So many of these trees are really grown in. Beautiful. The air is so fresh here too. Just an awesome place to come. See, they got a reflection pool there leading up to this mausoleum, which is still open, surprisingly. Maybe they're doing something in it. I don't want to get trapped in here, so I gotta show you this one. This is one of the biggest. It's an obelisk here, as you can see. It's for the Battle of St. Denis et St. Charles that happened on the 23rd of November and the 25th, between the 23rd and 25th of November. And wow, this thing's gotta be 7,500 feet high. We got all these French Canadians. There's some exiled to Bermuda, exiled to Terre to Australia. Of course, Australia was a penal colony for quite some time. Guess that explains why you got characters like John Le Bon. History of shilling. I'm just kidding, of course. But birth home. quite an elaborate sort of Corinthian pillars and everything. Pretty sure this guy was a mason. There's just no end to, you always find something new too when you come through here. These gorgeous trees. There's some more mausoleums over there. Really fun place to walk in. So of course what I hope to be doing with this series is to encourage people to get out as much as possible, to live well, to exercise, to eat well, take care of yourself so that you can be more effective as a person, as a truther. Whatever you do to help, you know, inform people about what's going on, about the New World Order. We need you to be optimal and all in order to have a greater effect. So you have to take care of your health. Don't get depressed. Look at this glass tomb here. That's really interesting. Of course, there is a kind of one-upman or keeping up with the Joneses with some of this stuff, as one family may try to outdo the one next to them, or their rivals or whatever, especially when it comes to the Italians. Most of the big mausoleums, like this massive one here that's 3 floors and the size of a small shopping center, most of them are Italian. As I said before, the Italians do put a lot of emphasis on family tradition and all. So, sun's starting to come out. I really enjoy it when it rains like that, where it doesn't rain all day, but you get these, you know, 10-15 minute downpours and the sun comes out. This feels nice, brings out a lot of the natural sort of flower scents. So here we are, getting close to the exit here. Another beautiful shot of St. Joseph's Oratory, one of the most iconic landmarks of Montreal, and something that you can see. You can even see the front sort of entrance there. My favorite stair climbing place, or one of them. I like the stair climb in Westmount. I also like the stair climb on Mount Royal. The main peak, which is the highest of them, which is close to 800 feet. And you can see here the Westmount peak over there, which is beautiful. I'll take you up there sometime soon. The top of it has a gorgeous forest that's totally preserved, full with trails. I like to walk through there a lot. And Westmount is beautiful mansions and architecture, so it should be a lot of fun to take you through there and give you a guide and all that. It's just gorgeous out now. Couldn't be nicer. Sun, nice clouds, not chemtrail clouds, but real clouds. And nothing wrong with some beautiful rain in the summertime. Being a Montrealer, we have to deal with very, very extreme winters. So when the summertime comes, everybody wants to be outside as much as possible, especially the women, and wearing as little as possible, which is just bonus. It's like the cherry on top sort of thing. You got to be careful if you're a young guy driving around in Montreal, because you might get in an accident with all the beautiful women that are around. And I'm going to take you downtown as well to show you what city life is like. I've lived in downtown Montreal for a long time. I love the city. It's a good place to be, and a good place to work. So there's the exit there. I've been walking probably for an hour and a half. I feel great, not the least bit tired. And I hope you had a lot of fun with this. There's one last thing I'd like to show you before I close. I know I went way over 15 minutes, so this will have to be uploaded to a one of my backups, probably Free Radio Revolution 1. I wanted to show you something here, which is a memorial for the Polytechnique massacre that happened. Well, we'll be able to find out probably. I think it was in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. And it was the largest massacre at that point in Canadian history. I believe it was, whoa, jaywalking here. Here it is. 1989, sorry, I got that wrong. So it was the massacre at École Polytechnique, and 14 women were allegedly gunned down. And of course, way before my time, certainly as a truther. And you see here, I believe you have 7 on each side, the names of the victims. And you gotta wonder, considering Sandy Hook and so many of the other fake shootings, whether this may not have been staged. May or may not have been staged. Who knows? But this was a very significant event. One of the big events that has happened in the history of Montreal. And they used it for a lot of anti-gun propaganda. Marc Le Pen was a loner who hated women, could never get a woman. So allegedly he went into this all-women sort of school and blew all these women away in a classroom. It's quite horrific, the story. But I can't help but be a little bit skeptical with all that I know these days about hoaxes, whether or not this may have been something that they staged. Back at the park that I showed you before with the workout, you see a bunch of people there taking advantage of the, and I heard some music, checking it out, and they got a band that's gonna play, it looks like tonight. This amphitheater here is new, something they built just recently. In fact, you can see they're doing a lot of work on this park. And you have flutists with drummers doing a sound check. Montreal is extremely cultural. There's music all over the streets. It's quite an amazing place to wander around in the summertime, especially during the Jazz Fest and the Comedy Fest. Both the Jazz Fest is the largest jazz fest in the world, and the Comedy Fest is the largest comedy fest in the world. And they have all kinds of shows outdoors as well as shows indoors. The Jazz Fest has about 15 outdoor stages, and at any given time there's 7 or 8 acts going at once. So another wonderful thing about Montreal. In the future, I'm going to be checking out the Tam Tams, which is another Montreal institution of people know as Drums in the Park, where you get all these people with congos and bongos and big bass drums all jamming together, all kinds of instruments too. People come with saxophones and, you know, trumpets and stuff like that and jam along with all these musicians. And you have all these different cultures baking food, whether Greeks or Indian, all that. And see a nice park that they're building right here with, hey, they got the, almost like the Saturn cube. It's more like a rectangle, but they really are doing good work here in Montreal and in the urban parks. See, the kids are pretty lucky these days because most of the major parks are getting water parks. Something I never had as a kid. Keep the kids cool and get them outside where they should be instead of inside watching television. So this is Jeff C with a very long walk with Jeff C. So I'm coming up to Côte des Neiges here, and there's a good fruit market here. I might pick up some peaches, strawberries. Quebec strawberries are the best. It's so good here. Anyway, awesome. spontaneous jam here. See all the cultures coming together. They have pianos throughout Montreal that are left out 24/7 that anyone can start to jam on. So nice to see people of different skin colors and ethnic groups coming together and just having a great time. And we're not even downtown here. We're not even really close to downtown. You go downtown Montreal, you see a city full of life, music everywhere, all kinds of different ethnic groups, a real melting pot. Actually, Canada's more of a mosaic, but anyways, hope you enjoyed it.